Welcome to Environmental Week at the Startup Business Festival, a week dedicated to innovation and resilience, where the focus is on redefining the balance between business growth and the health of our planet. In today's rapidly changing world, environmental sustainability is no longer just a choice, it's a necessity. This week, we explore the transformative potential of environmentally conscious innovation and sustainable development. From renewable energy to the circular economy, we highlight the leaders and thinkers who are driving change through sustainable practices. At the core of Environmental Week is the belief that businesses, big and small, can make a profound impact on our world. Through our sessions, discussions, and collaborations, we invite you to think beyond traditional methods and join us on a journey of creating new solutions that support both our economy and our planet. Let's look forward, together, to a world where sustainable business practices shape the future, all here at the Startup Business Festival.
As an initiative between Green Matter ZA and the South African Young Water Professionals Network, Imvelisi strives to give entrepreneurs the tools they need to succeed. Imvelisi offers access to bootcamps, workshops, conferences, online communities, cocktail events, and forum meetings, where aspiring entrepreneurs are able to network and gain potential mentors, all while learning the vital skills such as assessing market potential, how to start their business, how to pitch to investors, and how to fully develop their idea into a successful business. Our environmental business guidebooks are wonderful tools to help an aspiring entrepreneur to enter into the world of environmental business and entrepreneurship. We offer a snapshot into the individual subsector of the green economy by showing the entrepreneur just how to get started in the form of a beautifully designed booklet. A handbook to show you the way through South Africa's green economy, the people, the processes, the products, and the support that you can investigate to get you going on your journey to starting a green business in your specialist field. Not forgetting a list of important role players in the unique business ecosystem. This is how we are growing a better South Africa, one entrepreneur at a time. Check out our website on your green economy field, whether you're in the water business, alien invasive plant beneficiation, bioprospecting, etc. And if we haven't published a booklet in your specialist field yet, sign up for our newsletter and keep your eyes on your inbox for our next publication. As an initiative between Green Matters ZA and the South African Young Water Professionals Network, Imvelisi strives to give entrepreneurs the tools they need to succeed. Imvelisi offers access to bootcamps, workshops, conferences, online communities, cocktail events, and forum meetings, where aspiring entrepreneurs are able to network and gain potential mentors, all while learning the vital skills such as assessing market potential, how to start their business, how to pitch to investors, and how to fully develop their idea into a successful business. Our environmental business guidebooks are wonderful tools to help an aspiring entrepreneur to enter into the world of environmental business and entrepreneurship. We offer a snapshot into the individual subsector of the green economy by showing the entrepreneur just how to get started in the form of a beautifully designed booklet. A handbook to show you the way through South Africa's green economy, the people, the processes, the products, and the support that you can investigate to get you going on your journey to starting a green business in your specialist field. Not forgetting a list of important role players in the unique business ecosystem. This is how we are growing a better South Africa, one entrepreneur at a time. Check out our website on your green economy field, whether you're in the water business, alien invasive plant beneficiation, bioprospecting, etc. And if we haven't published a booklet in your specialist field yet, sign up for our newsletter and keep your eyes on your inbox for our next publication.
Good afternoon and welcome to day 5 of week 1 of the 2024 Startup Business Festival. Today we are joined by a powerful and impactful author, a visionary in the arts, Belina Zwane. Welcome to our show and welcome to this 2024 Startup Business Festival. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, like you said, hi everyone, my name is Belina Zwane, the author of Ephemeral Seasons. I also dabble into the other arts such as painting and sculpting. But I don't consider myself just a writer. I think that I'm a healer. And I've also studied education and psychology. Yeah.
That's powerful, that's beautiful. And to walk us through your journey, what was it? What was the catalyst that led to the writing of Ephemeral Seasons?
Okay, so I've always believed that there are connections between the ecosystem, so plants and animals and humans. As well as climate conditions. And so the book sort of marries that idea of sort of finding ways to relate with our emotions and regulate our feelings, the way the ecosystem behaves.
So you were trying to mirror the natural and try and put the natural on pen and paper, which is something that's admirable, because not everybody can translate what naturally comes and put it into words that translate to other people then. So can you tell us more about your journey as a multidisciplinary artist and how your experiences, especially in the visual arts and literature, have intersected with the shape of this book?
So I started writing at a young age. I never used to speak much. I was just the quiet girl with a book. And so writing was, I almost want to call it an escape for me. But at the same time, it helped me understand people and things. That's how I sort of grew into a curious person, because then when I write, it's sort of an out-of-body experience. I learn things through my writing. I learn how I perceive people and things through my writing. So a lot of it comes through.
So a lot of who you are just comes through into the art that you make and the art that you create. And obviously this is something that most artists share, because in the end, you're trying to translate your being, and you're trying to kind of relay that to somebody else. And these are things that we often skip when we're making the arts, in that you need to implant yourself into the arts as well. So do you find rooting in your art in yourself or in your vision, or do you find it in trying to translate those two?
It's always in myself. Sometimes, life is forever happening. Life doesn't stop happening when we feel that we need to catch a break. So sometimes I get so overwhelmed by what's going on around me, that I don't take the time to reflect on how I feel, or I don't take the time to process some of the things that happen to me, which I've learned also happen for me. So it's through my writing that I'm able to take that time and understand what it is that's happening and how I feel about it and how it's going to affect me going forward.
Okay, let's speak more about the structure of ephemeral seasons. So, how did you decide when you were dividing the book on the different seasons? How did you decide which season goes where?
It goes back to what I shared about, us and having that sort of mirror effect to nature. So I made sure that I divide the book according to seasons, because I believe that in life we have different seasons. There's a season for happiness, but there's also a season for grief. And I chose the climate seasons, summer, spring, winter, and autumn, to find themes in our lives or find emotions that are reflected in those specific seasons. So, for example, summer is very bright, sunny, and airy. So that chapter speaks a lot about those type of emotions, happiness, warmth. And then in winter, that's when we deal a lot with death and loss. And then autumn is a bit, it's an in-between month. So even in the book, the poems that are in the autumn chapter are very finding your feet, finding the balance, figuring it out. And then in spring, that's when we kind of blossom. That's when we are living your best life. So yeah.
Can you share some insights then on the creative process? So we've seen that you've been separating it mostly based on the nature cycle. But there's always a process when you're coming up with things like that. Not everybody thinks like that.
Yeah.
So what was the creative process that went into this?
So, I don't like saying this because it sounds like I'm thumb sucking it, but it really just comes to me. I'll give an example of two poems in the book. There's one titled Weather Girl, and that one just came to me when I was watching the news with my parents, and then the weather forecast came on. And I paid careful attention to how, the navigation of the weather system was presented. And I thought about how that's kind of how we navigate our emotions, We're kind of all over the place. We feel stormy sometimes. Other areas of our lives are sunny, And so the poem goes through that journey of how our emotions are like the weather. And then another one is I was running late for work, and I couldn't find a matching pair of socks, And I thought, okay, but I can't wear mismatched socks. That would just bother me the entire day. But then I thought about how sometimes we settle. Sometimes we settle for what's in front of us because we're not patient enough to search for what we need, or for what we deserve, that we end up just taking what's there. So yeah, that's kind of the process that I went through while writing.
And then listening to you, I'm just like, what a beautiful, beautiful way just to have such inspiration just arrive at you. That's great, and not everybody has that. We must say that. Sometimes there is a little bit of a grind when it comes to creating and trying to create art, especially. So we work in different spaces, we work with different people. Do you think experiences have shaped the way that you create as well?
Definitely, especially through my studies in education and psychology, more than anything, through that and my art, I've learned the beauty and the art behind perspective and perception, because the world is big and we all see it in different ways, but there's a sort of a mini world inside us, and only we know what we carry and we know what's going on the inside. And even when you try and share your story to the next person, they'll never see it the way that you do. So that's always, the driving force, just perception.
So perception, the driving force behind creativity, and all the things that you encompass in your art. I'm thinking and I'm trying to envision what this whole process was like, because it's a beautiful piece of literature. Everybody who wants to read it can and should.
Yes, definitely.
But okay, let's go to your other work. So we spoke about the literature, but you also paint.
And sculpt.
And you sculpt.
And
you draw. So what happens with that? Because I'm not guessing the process is the same, but you can tell us what goes on when you're painting, when you're drawing, and when you're sculpting.
Definitely. When I create visual arts or group it as that, it's not the same as when I write. So my writing comes from my heart, but my art comes from my brain. So it's all about the aesthetics, it's about making beautiful things. Um, there's so much ugliness in the world. So I create art from just a place of being a creator and wanting to make the world a little more beautiful. Whereas with my writing, it's more about a journey where I'm just exploring how I feel and the places and things and people around me.
So taking inward experiences. That's what I'm gathering from what you're saying. And it's sorry, I'm gonna keep saying this. It's quite beautiful to kind of dive into the mind of a creative, especially from your multifaceted approach to art. So let's jump back to the book now. Okay. So the book invites readers to consider complex phases of self-relationship. How do you see ephemeral seasons fitting into the conversation around self-love and mental health?
Okay, I would just like to add on to the answer that I gave earlier about perspective, because I think that ties in a lot with self-love, especially in this day and age when we are exposed to so many different ideas of what or who self is. I also like to think that understanding also plays a huge role in that. We need to understand who we are, what we want, and where we come from in order to be our best selves. That's where it starts. It all starts within you, and only then can you love yourself. You cannot love something that you do not know or something that you do not understand. So you have to take the time to know yourself, introduce yourself to you, and then take the time to understand yourself. And that's how you begin to love yourself.
And then obviously with loving yourself comes a greater lift in mental health.
Yes.
You're no longer beating up yourself because you know yourself so intimately and so truly. And that's something that's interesting to hear. And that's something that I'm guessing our viewers can also relate to, because it's a lifelong journey. Self-introspection, self-molding, self-loving is a lifelong journey. You have to pick yourself every single day. Do you feel that that kind of emotion is what you were trying to draw out of the reader?
Yes, definitely. But it's so easy, I think, to love others, but not always easy to love self. And so it's just kind of creating that balance and that, like creating a safe space for you to be vulnerable with yourself in the same way that you're able to be vulnerable with others. So what I like about the book is that it has poems that speak to self-love, but also love of others, and then it also speaks to receiving love, and also knowing the right type of love.
And obviously, when you were creating this book, you had a vision and you had a goal, and sometimes it came to you.
Yeah.
But what was the most unexpected part about the creation of this book?
The admin. The admin, oh my word. Like I said, I've been writing for a while now. And I always thought, I'll just write my book, find a publisher, and then, that's it. I'm just a writer. But then with this journey, I learned that there's more to it. There's marketing, there's, you know, um, the cost that comes into printing, all those nitty gritty details that I think I wouldn't have thought about until I started the journey.
Obviously, that's something that you found out later on, but you're also a businesswoman. So it wasn't as surprising as most people would think it is.
Yeah.
But as both an artist and a businesswoman, how do you balance your creative pursuits with your entrepreneurship or your need to do in business?
To be honest, I'm still learning. This is my first book, and today marks 2 months. So we're still new at it, but it's a learning curve, and I just need to implement the skills that I have from my other businesses into this, but also understand that it's totally different. The market is different. The marketing and everything that comes with being a published author is different from running my other businesses. So it's just about learning about what goes on behind the scenes, in the publication industry as well as in galleries and the art world.
Obviously, I want our audience to also be inspired by your journey.
Mhm.
So I'm going to ask the difficult questions.
Okay, go easy on me.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you had to face, especially as an artist, trying to move from an artist to the business world? Like, what was the biggest thing that you were like, okay, I wasn't prepared for this,
Yeah.
but I'm ready for it?
Okay, I'll speak on two things, the book and my other art. So in terms of the book, it's just getting it out there, getting it on like big bookstores, I'd say. There's a bit of, it's not easy to get it on those platforms, especially when you are self-published. They usually just only work with publishing houses. So that was something that I did not know, I wasn't aware of. So we're working around it. And then in terms of art, it's just honestly finding a curator and finding a space where you can share your work to create an audience of sorts.
And already, let's go back to the art of it. Let's center it around the art. When you were creating the book, how was the process, and especially the whirlwind around the book? How was it different from when you're creating other art? And how did you see all those experiences encapsulate and then turn into ephemeral seasons?
Okay. With my visual art, like I said, it's all in my head. I get the idea, I execute it, I make pretty art, and that's it. End of story. But with the poetry, it's really more intentional. It's more emotive, um, and so I had to really take my time with it, and I also had to make sure that I was comfortable with sharing certain elements that presented themselves in the poem. Because some of these stories are very personal. So it took a lot of inner work, let's say. And yeah, what I did though, I made sure that I divide the chapters according to the seasons. So each season, as the season is about to start, there's a picture in it that kind of creates the tone and prepares the reader for that chapter. So we have different elements in that picture that sort of explain or express what's in the season.
And obviously, when you were looking at that and you were encapsulating that, You had moments where you're like, this is my favorite. So I'm going to ask that question. What is your favorite season, and what was your favorite poem or passage in the book?
Okay, my favorite season is definitely, or rather, my favorite chapter is definitely All Knowing Autumn. That's what I titled it. And I love it especially because it's like I explained earlier, it's an in-between season. So a lot of the poems there are very progressive, I would say. You can tell that the speaker in the poem is going through a very transitional time, which I really love. I really, really love it.
And obviously, because this is your first published work, this is a milestone for you.
Mhm.
What does this mean? Where to from here?
Onwards and upwards, honestly, there's no stopping. Yeah, onwards and upwards. I can't wait to write more, do more, be more, see more. Because I think in order to write, I need to experience life. So that's what I'm most excited for.
I'm going to ask you for an advice segment. So, what advice would you give to other artists or aspiring artists who want to crack into it and just publish? Like, what is the advice that you would give them?
Um, I would say be intentional and authentic. I think that's the most important thing. You have to write from your heart. It has to be something that you believe in, something that you can stand by. It needs to be yours. Because if it's not, then you won't feel good about it, and you won't be able to execute it the way you would have liked to. So just be true to yourself and your creative process. Everyone has a different process. Understand your process and just go for it.
See, this is why she is here. This is why we needed to have this conversation, and I'm glad you're availing yourself and being so candid with us. So I'm going to speak more on your life journey. So, where are you from? What inspired who you are right now? Like, where does Bettina come from?
Okay. I'm from the East Rand in Springs. And what inspired my writing, oh wow, funny story. I've been meaning to tell the story. There's a friend, let's call him a friend. I had this friend in grade 7. We were quite close. And so he wrote a couple of poems for me. It was our final exams. We weren't going to see each other after that because I was going to a boarding school and he was quite sad about it. So he wrote me a couple of poems in a 72-page exercise book. And when I read that, I thought, oh my God, this is the most beautiful thing ever. And I wanted to share that. I wanted to return that innocence and love, I would say. So that's when I started writing.
You just took from him and then you started to write on your own, just trying to match the energy.
Mhm.
So I'm always going to, because we're both from the East Rand, so
Okay.
I get it. Trying to return that favor. So let's look into the future for you. Let's look 5 years from now. Where do you see yourself?
I want to write more, but not just poetry. So I see myself in a theater somewhere. I want to write plays, maybe some screenwriting as well, a novel. I just want to experiment and explore my writing. So definitely, yeah.
So
Expect another book.
expect another book. You heard it here. You heard it here first. Expect another book. So let's close off with something that is an advice segment again. So to the people who are watching you and are like, I'm also in the creative space. I'm also a writer, or I'm an artist. I'm a visual artist. I'm whoever I am, but in the creative space. Where do you see them, and where do you see that space being, especially when it comes to selling work, to publishing work in the next year or so, or the next 5 years? Do you see it growing? Do you see the arts industry returning to its glory days? And how do you think that would happen?
I'm not sure about it returning to its glory days because of AI. It's kind of taking away the creative process and the authenticity of things. But I think that there is always room for growth. There is always room for improvement. Um, like with me, my book is also available as an ebook. So there are ways in which we can work around the space and try to develop it, especially now with self-publishing. I think it makes it a whole lot more easier for people to get their work out there instead of waiting for an okay from a publishing house. If you have the confidence and you have, the skills and the talent, go for it.
All right, so let's just take a look at the cover that you came up with.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know as a creative, you were very, very inspired. What was it that said, this is it?
Okay. The process was very simple, honestly. When I think of flowers, I think of love. So I decided, hey, what's the best way to, put that in the cover? But I didn't want the typical hold a bouquet and, smile for the camera. So also I'm quite shy, so I didn't want to face the camera. And we were like, actually, I have a nice side profile. Let's do that. So yeah.
Playing into your strengths. You're like, let's do what feels comfortable, what feels natural.
Mm-hmm. But also cute, comfortable but cute.
So yeah, I'm gonna wind down and kind of conclude our little chit chat, our little sit down. You're a wonderful guest. It's been nice getting to know you, getting to know the mind that was behind ephemeral seasons, especially because I'm definitely getting another copy and I'm gifting it to somebody so that they can experience the kind of joy that you were able to encapsulate in your writing. So, what is the one thing that you want people to take away from our sit down? What is the one thing that you want us and the audience to know?
Oh wow. Okay, I need to think about that one.
You can just, off the dome, what is the one thing that you want to conclude and you want to say, hey, this is me, this is what I brought to the world, and invest in it, love it, cherish it as much as I've cherished it.
I think I'll have a keyword for this, and it'll be belief. Just believing in something, believing in yourself and fighting for it, knowing when to stand up or sit down, just belief and timing. I believe in perfect timing. I don't believe in coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. So yeah, that's my takeaway.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for availing yourself. And to our audience at home, I hope this little sit down was insightful for you. Don't forget to join us and keep the conversation flowing on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, X, and of course on YouTube too. Please also don't forget, sign up on our website. Get the news as it comes out. But that is all from us today. Please join us next week in our next session where we go through the week of the social change. So that is all for me and our guests. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being with us. God bless.
Thank you.
This is Umfundo. He has identified an environmental problem which is land degradation and crop failure. Mfundo wishes to better his environment and community by installing an aquaponics system that helps produce crops and fish. But how will he go about tackling a project of such proportion? Luckily for him, he doesn't have to try and do it on his own. By joining the Imvelisi Enviropreneurs Bootcamp program, he will be provided with knowledge, guidance, and resources needed to build his idea into a business. Imvelisi aims to prepare young people who are considering startup businesses in the water and biodiversity sector for a better understanding of what it takes to start and run a successful business. Assessing the market potential for ideas. Understanding the funding and partnership landscape that will be important in taking an idea forward. as well as the intricacies of starting a business and how to pitch your ideas to possible investors. At Imvelisi, Umfundo can network with other entrepreneurs and stakeholders also attending the bootcamp, while at the same time have the opportunity to engage with technical and business mentorship to help him structure his idea into a potential business, which he is then able to pitch to potential investors in Shark Tank sessions, giving him the possible opportunity to become involved in the Imvelisi mentorship program. At Imvelisi, we open our doors for you to start your own business, leading to adding value to the economy, environment, and community.
Welcome to Environmental Week at the Startup Business Festival, a week dedicated to innovation and resilience, where the focus is on redefining the balance between business growth and the health of our planet. In today's rapidly changing world, environmental sustainability is no longer just a choice, it's a necessity. This week, we explore the transformative potential of environmentally conscious innovation and sustainable development. From renewable energy to the circular economy, we highlight the leaders and thinkers who are driving change through sustainable practices. At the core of Environmental Week is the belief that businesses, big and small, can make a profound impact on our world. Through our sessions, discussions, and collaborations, we invite you to think beyond traditional methods and join us on a journey of creating new solutions that support both our economy and our planet. Let's look forward, together, to a world where sustainable business practices shape the future, all here at the Startup Business Festival.
As an initiative between Green Matter ZA and the South African Young Water Professionals Network, Imvelisi strives to give entrepreneurs the tools they need to succeed. Imvelisi offers access to bootcamps, workshops, conferences, online communities, cocktail events, and forum meetings, where aspiring entrepreneurs are able to network and gain potential mentors, all while learning the vital skills such as assessing market potential, how to start their business, how to pitch to investors, and how to fully develop their idea into a successful business. Our environmental business guidebooks are wonderful tools to help an aspiring entrepreneur to enter into the world of environmental business and entrepreneurship. We offer a snapshot into the individual subsector of the green economy by showing the entrepreneur just how to get started in the form of a beautifully designed booklet. A handbook to show you the way through South Africa's green economy, the people, the processes, the products, and the support that you can investigate to get you going on your journey to starting a green business in your specialist field. Not forgetting a list of important role players in the unique business ecosystem. This is how we are growing a better South Africa, one entrepreneur at a time. Check out our website on your green economy field, whether you're in the water business, alien invasive plant beneficiation, bioprospecting, etc. And if we haven't published a booklet in your specialist field yet, sign up for our newsletter and keep your eyes on your inbox for our next publication.